YouTube, Brian Phillips. We've got something for you. It's in this box. We're gonna open it right now. We're gonna show you the entire Unbox build radio setup. So feast your eyes on this. New from FMS.
No.
Oh, that's right. This was new from FMS?
It was.
That's right. Okay. So as you guys may have already seen, the J-10 64 millimeter from FMS. Okay, here it is. We're gonna see how this thing does. If you guys are from China, you'll be more familiar with this plane. All right, so there's two liveries. There's a gray one, and then there's a red, white, and blue one. For some reason, it's red, white, and blue. I think that's the American version. And this is, where are the specs?
Oh, the color's down on this end.
Are they
we
here?
got the red, white, and blue, but there's the specs.
Okay, you wanna show them? Okay. You wanna read them?
40 amp EFC, brushless, 2840 kV, 1350 motor, 9 grams, servos, 4 pieces.
This is the August 1st scheme.
Okie dokie.
As opposed to the Air Force gray paint. You can get either one. So check out the links in the video description below. Will help you figure out which one you want to pick. And then this one looks like it comes with a Reflex V3. So that'll hold down the cost of the additional equipment you'll have to add to it, because it does have a stabilizer built in. If you don't want to use the stabilizer that comes with it and you want to use the Superior AS3X Plus, then we will mention that when we get to the radio setup portion. Holy cow.
It's tight
This thing's in there. Okay, sometimes we have to do this on planes. It's been a long time since I broke one pulling it out though.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna open this up. More power and speed, because it's powerful supposedly. And it's stable. Good Lord.
It's gracious.
Like, why is this thing so hard to get out? There we go.
There it goes.
I was pushing on the wrong spots, evidently. Okay, so this one's in the red, white, blue, and gray. I take it back. There's gray also in there. So it's not just America colors.
It's not. It's their like Chinese aerobatic team.
We should release this on 4th of July.
No.
No? Okay. That was a joke, guys. So we're gonna do this J-10 right now instead. So there's a manual. One of the reasons we really like FMS products is the consistency of the builds. Now, this is a fixed gear EDF jet, okay? So I'm gonna just tell you right now, personal experience with fixed gear EDF jets is kind of like so-so. I really enjoy the prospect of takeoff and landing with wheels up, wheels down, okay? So belly landers, they serve a purpose. People love them for what they do. And I am really tempted to just set this up as a hand launch belly land plane. Here's why. Because if I take off and land from the runway, by the way, LEDs, look at that. I didn't realize there was LEDs. It's kind of a weird spot for a wing
Yeah.
mounted light. Obviously this is gonna be ailerons that are gonna act as an elevator as well. So we'll have to set up that wing type, or more specifically because of the Reflex V3, we should just set up a regular wing type. And we're gonna be using the Spectrum transmitter as usual. But I guess what I was thinking is we might set this up with the full intention of just takeoff and landing hand launch style, rather than even bother with the landing gear, because I'm always disappointed.
Yeah.
Like pretty much always.
And our runway is set up slightly weird right now.
Yeah, we don't have an overshoot area because our overshoot runs into 3-inch clean roads. It's not roadstone, it's just 3-inch clean. So you don't want to roll off onto that. Okay, so everything seems pretty solid. We've got a nice top light here. Got these plastic areas here that are reinforced, which is nice. Big, strong rudder, but a pinch hinge still. 9-gram digital plastic gear, okay? For the rudder, paint seems solid. We've got this unpainted strip here. Unpainted here on the wings. White tape seems to match pretty good, but then blue on the top. High contrast top and bottom. Only problem is with blue, depending on when you're flying, the blue will blend with, like right now, if you're flying with that sun behind you, you're gonna see dark like a shadow, and then you're gonna see dark like a shadow all the time. So it depends on where the light's coming from, whether or not the contrast is gonna show up. I mean, it's pretty much true of most planes. But for us, we tend to film toward twilight, toward the evening hours, and we get calm. Okay, wing joiner rod. Not sure exactly which wing that's gonna go to. I assume that's on the main wing. But just unpacking this, the landing gear are beautiful on this plane, so I'm really torn on whether or not I wanna do this as just a belly lander, because I feel like it's got something to offer, but it's just not what we do.
I wonder how hard it's going to be to take the gear on and off.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like every time that we try to use fixed gear, look at these. These things look sweet. Black on black, but rock hard. I mean, rock hard, zero give.
Yeah, it's not going to do us much good.
No, it's not.
Jeez, that's like ridiculous.
It's like
file my nails with them.
Yeah, seriously. There's the other one. Okay, now the nose gear does have a little bit of a spring on it, but it's stiff too. And it is a beautiful plastic finish on there. And of course, when we get these things, they don't usually grease these very well. So sometimes if you just work them a few times, it helps a lot. But again, rock hard tires, guys. Like, what are we doing with rock hard tires? That's just ridiculous. USB-A to USB-C. That's for programming the Reflex V3. Even though you can supposedly hook up to it with Bluetooth, I've never done it. I have no intentions of doing it. If you want to play with it, go for it. I'm not going to waste my time on it because there is no reason to waste your time on it. Okay? Basically, FMS's version of configurable means you can pick one of their other planes and you can make the assignments for the wing type of that particular plane. Now, the good news is they have quite a few planes out now. And so if you were to pick another model that they offer, you can use that other profile, but it's not like, you know, AS3X Plus where you can set up the wing to do whatever you want.
Right.
So I don't know. To me, it's kind of like, why do you even bother?
Clip
Beautiful details that are gonna get ripped off. Okay.
Yeah.
And we have ventral fins that are also going to get ripped off because we don't have magnets.
Right.
You know, they didn't send us this plane when it first came out, and that was fine because, like, whatever. We were pissed about it because, like, we want to be the first to the party because that's what we do when we, you know, share all these experiences on YouTube. But at the same time, it was kind of like, okay, well, it's a belly lander, and who knows? I mean, is it even going to do well belly landing? Look at that. These details look sweet, but... Are you kidding me?
Yeah, what's that little green thing?
What the heck were they thinking? Immediately ripped off. Jail, 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 jail. Okay, so belly landing, not so much. Guys, we're gonna just say this again. We say this every time. I don't care what manufacturer makes a plane. It could be Horizon, it could be FMS, it could be Freewing if they'd ever work with us, except Motion RC won't. Our frustration is when you design a plane with a high probability of belly landing, you have to design it with a mechanism in place to belly land the dang thing, okay? So if you make an F-18 and it's got like 14 protruding antennas, which looks sweet and super scale, you need to make those 14 protruding antennas magnetically attached, or magnetically attach a bank of them on the belly so you can take it off, or make it so you can leave them off by not screwing them in, or leave them off by not gluing them in. That would be the only time I would say, let us glue them in, okay? And just because I know the way that things go, and what's gonna happen is you're gonna end up with this plane that just looks like garbage on the bottom. And that's not a guess, okay? So, we have canards. These are the front canards, I believe. Okay, they do have a carbon fiber reinforcement, but they feel flimsy from here out. See? Mm-hmm. So I don't know if that's good or not. I'm a little bit concerned about those. So anyway, getting back to the point, I was mentioning that they hadn't sent this when it first came out, which is fine. I mean, you got to do what you got to do when you make RC airplanes. Man, that canopy does look nice. I like that a lot. Looks good. But see, here's the thing, guys. We have seen so many different planes and so many different examples of really well done. And we've seen a lot of examples of like, how do you miss that particular mark? Because it is like a principal part of the way the plane is going to function. Okay? So again, if you decide you love the J-10 and you want to do wheels up, wheels down, or maybe you're just okay with kind of destroying it and making it not look good for the second, third, fourth, and subsequent flights, then that's fine. But we would probably not agree on that technically, okay? No, we don't have to agree on it, and that's totally fine. But here on Brian Phillips RC, we share our whole experience. Even if it's not great, sometimes it's not great because I make it harder than it has to be because I want to add a feature, I want to add some sort of a behavior to the aircraft that maybe wasn't designed for it, or the manufacturer didn't have in mind that we would do it. But in this case, belly landing is that's pretty much what a lot of people are going to do with this model, okay? So as a result, I get pretty disappointed when I see stuff like that. Now, does that make it a bad plane? No, it doesn't. And so I'm gonna try my best to curb my enthusiasm or lack therein over a detail like that, okay? But we do bring it up because that is our job. We're trying to help you guys make good decisions with your RC dollars by telling the full truth, nothing but the truth, so help us God. And that means I like the way this gray one looks, by the way. I really like the way the gray one looks. I think the ordnance looks better. There was no ordnance in this.
No, and there is not on the picture on the red, white, and blue, and there is on the gray.
Yeah, but I saw a picture of it with ordnance. Where did I see that?
None of the blue ones.
No, I saw a picture with ordnance. Where was it?
Flip it to the...
But yeah, so guys, if you get the gray one, you're gonna get all the sweet ordnance.
But again, if you're gonna belly land, who cares?
The ordnance would get you up off the ground.
No, they're just gonna rip off.
Well, you are correct, but...
They'll get you up off the ground once.
That's right. And you guys know we're not huge fans of ordnance anyway, because I want to have it because it's awesome, but I don't want to necessarily put it on the plane.
We just need to add it to our shelf.
That's right. I want it to sit in my basement and collect dust.
Yes.
While the plane waits for us to fly it, okay? So anyway, getting over our little sob story there about the antennas sticking out the bottom, but it is a factor. So just keep that in mind when you're making your decision on this particular model, okay? Now they wrapped up a ball of something in here. Oh, that was just to protect, yeah. So there's a Reflex V3, amazing, wow, looks red, okay, big deal, don't care. All right, and then we have a light and we have the aileron, so there's just one plug on there, and we have the light and we have the aileron cable here. So we're gonna have to plug both of those in. Okay, so that's gonna be tedious. But nice big plastic receiver here to take that in. And then of course the wing joiner rod is gonna go through the middle. This should be a relatively simple build, low piece count, which we do really appreciate, okay? And then also if you look up above where the battery sticks in, did you happen to see in the specs what they need for a battery?
Yeah, they're recommending a 4S, a 2200 to 2600, 25C, so whatever we've got will be fine.
Shelf liner, we're gonna need shelf liner. And we're gonna need 2200 4S, okay? So let's start that up right now in the charger. You're gonna come over here. Two options, China Hobby Lines 30C, 2200 4S. Starting to get a puff on it because we don't use them much and they stay charged. That's my fault, unfortunately, as a user. That's one of the reasons why we really like the smart packs, because they auto discharge, which is nice, but it's also terrible because they auto discharge. Sometimes you go to use them and they're discharged. So it is the double-edged sword. It is striking the balance between safety and reliability. But even still, we've noticed that some of our smart packs over the course of 3 or 4 years have pretty much worn out the same way that some of our non-smart packs have worn out because we keep them charged. We run, full disclosure, 240 hours. That is the longest auto discharge sequence you can run on smart packs without just turning it off, which you can turn that off, by the way. You don't have to use that feature, but it would be kind of stupid not to, okay? All right, so big heavy duty straps, like you could hold your pants up with that thing. Don't really understand why it's so heavy duty. And we're gonna pull this out, which is ironic, guys, because we have a lot of planes that could really use a heavy duty strap like that and nowhere to be found.
Right.
But in this particular one,
you get two.
Huge. Not sure, there's always interesting decisions made on models, okay? So we lay this down. Guys, we really do like FMS products. They make a good plane. They really, some of their stuff is amazing. And not the least of which is the Cessna 182 right on the ground. It's one of my favorite planes. The PA-18, amazing plane, really good. How about the lineup of warbirds for E-flite? How about the T-28? The Carbon Z, that's made for E-flite by FMS, okay? There is a lot of planes that FMS makes that are just phenomenal. So if you hear us griping about FMS, we just want to remind you that we love the line, but there are still things that we would love more if they were done a little bit different, okay? Sure. So just keep that all in mind when we have a gripe about a particular aircraft. And that all being understood, just to put it in context, this is admittedly, you know, like a plane that's designed for maybe a slightly different market, AKA China, and not necessarily the United States, because, you know, this is the plane that would be going up against our planes, I guess. I don't know. I'm not really sure. I'm pretty sure they wouldn't use this in war acts right now, would they? I don't know.
I don't know if it's a current Chinese plane or not.
Well, they use them. Well, they use them for their aerobatic.
Well, this one is, yeah.
So I would assume that they're showcasing the military complex the same way we would with, you know, the Thunderbirds.
Yeah, it's like a Thunderbird's livery for us.
Right. So, but again, I don't know anything about the J-10 beyond the fact that it's sitting here on my table and it's pretty.
See, and the CJ6 is in that same.
Oh, that's right.
That same like style of livery.
It's one of their like show planes.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is weird.
Which, by the way, we love the CJ6.
We were talking about that last night.
Looks to me like we're gonna have to glue in the canards.
Yes, I agree.
Well, that sucks. Okay, so we'll do that last.
Okay.
Because then we'll have protection for the canards when we get these in, okay? And then also we need to get screwdrivers and nuts and bolts out of the nutsack.
I think you're just gonna need a 2
Could you just grab my nut and bolt sack, please?
Yeah, I got it. Here, okay. I gotta use my teeth.
Whoa.
I think you're just gonna need a 2 millimeter drive is what it looks like.
Okay. 2 millimeters. You want to bet on that?
Yep.
2.
2.
2.
Here,
2.
I can't.
Sorry.
Get.
There's 2 millimeters. You're welcome. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna get the 2 millimeter drive. We're gonna get some China glue, which is ironic because if you guys are ordering a Spectrum receiver, which we'll talk about receivers here a little bit later, then you can get your foam to foam if you prefer the foam to foam. This stuff is great, it works fine. It's gonna be a similar price point to the FMS China glue. Yeah, this is factory packaging, they brand it that way. I'm just kidding, I wrote it. And then this came, crap, what was that? That was some little like throwaway, oh, it was an airplane.
Yeah,
that was the Air
that
C
Raptor.
Raptor, yeah.
The Paptor.
So, but this is gonna, yeah, the Paptor, the Pap smear, yeah, that's right, that one. So yeah, so we have this glue left over from that project. And just so you know, like I don't discriminate against China glues. All China glues are good. We like them all. So whatever, so we use whatever we want. The only difference is this China glue isn't made in China.
Right.
And it's a totally different formula. It's probably a little bit more likely to kill you, or at least the acknowledgement from the safety warning admits to killing.
To killing you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Whatever. I'm not really worried about it. I'm not eating the stuff.
Are you sure?
That is kind of a joke, guys, because the truth is, I'm sure it's all bad for you. I don't really care, though. Oh, forceps.
That's what you were getting.
Forceps.
I know.
So, guys, forceps, if you don't have forceps in your repertoire, get them. If you don't know how to find forceps, check out our links in the video description to brianphillipsrc.com. Head over there, and you can go to the supplies tab. It's right up at the top. Super easy to find. Should be no problem for you. Bent tips seem to be the ones that I use more. I don't know why, okay? All right, in order to do this, I just need to figure out which one's which. And I'm just gonna grab that second one there. Oh crap, I have like no clue which one's which.
They're not labeled?
All the freaking times that they could label these things. You know why they're not labeled? Because it doesn't matter. They're Y cables. They used a Y cable, I just about guarantee you.
Yeah, okay, that would make sense.
And if they're Y cables, then it really doesn't matter, okay?
Fine.
Why would you use a Y cable? That was supposed to be that was a dad joke.
Oh. I thought you were actually asking.
Can we take a minute and acknowledge the dad joke, since this is obviously not a time compressed video?
Right.
Why would you use a Y cable? Here's why. Because if you use a Y cable off the outlet of that, then you can steal power for the LED. but it's still gonna make the servo work, okay? All right, does that make sense?
Yep.
Is everybody on the same page?
Yep.
Now, here's the problem with this. Do you wanna know what the problem is?
Sure. What's the problem?
Here's the problem. I have to slam a battery into this thing, this XBC checker, so that I can simulate a signal input into this airplane, so that I can pass it through all this crap. And it's probably not going to work because I probably have to energize it through the ESC port, okay? So negative is away from me. They should have silk screened that, guys, full disclosure. So plug that in, click, go to servo test, start. Okay, so it's lights, okay? Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into a sweep. Now it's sweeping on the aileron channel. So let's test my theory, guys. Yellow's toward my, or orange is toward my belly. It's moving, see? Mm-hmm. Okay, now, let's see if it moves on the other one too. Yellow's away from my belly this time. Money where your mouth is, guys. It works. Both of them work, okay? So now, because I don't like finding these things out later, we're gonna test the other side too. How do we know that this is gonna work? We test it. We come up with a hypothesis and then we test it. It is the scientific method. Look at this, amazing. Wow, up. That is so little throw, it's ridiculous, okay? That is a super bright LED.
Yeah, I was noticing that.
Come over here.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
And the red one over here is so bright too.
Okay, so now I'm gonna test the second one. Now you're probably thinking, why do you have to test both of them? Haven't you already confirmed it? You already test 3 of 4. That's correct. Why would you do a 75% test if you could do a 100% test? Good question. Okay, I'm gonna plug this one in too while I'm over here. Just whichever one I get to first, I'm gonna do that. Okay, so orange is toward the back. Yeah, there's really no sense in not just plugging it all in while we're here.
Right.
Okay, so now look, red goes to the middle, black goes toward my belly because the brown is toward my belly. But you got this like keeper style clip, which ain't gonna work because you have to have 3 pins for that to work. The keeper, you can still plug it in, but it's just not gonna, the keeper's not gonna do anything. That is really hard to get purchase in there. Okay. I don't know why it's fighting me so much on this plug.
Got it.
Well, I have it stuck, but it's not wanting to slide in.
Those are great on the wings too.
That's good. It's the way they need to be.
Yeah, and they're not.
Okay. Oh yeah, good. Okay, so this one's gonna go into the middle. Oh, for God's sakes. Look at that, I can't even get them to go in. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I need that chair, please. So guys, here on Brian Phillips RC, we show the whole truth, nothing but the truth to help us God. And the reason we do that is because we want you guys to get the true scope of what to expect in a build. Sometimes that means we test things that, you know, some of you might make a good argument that like, got it, penetration finally. You know, figure that stuff out, put it in the video, make the video shorter. Hey, listen, I don't disagree with that assessment, but the difference is we're trying to teach people to know how to do things, not just how to do it, right? So if we teach you a process, you can apply the process to another build. Now, that's bad for us in the long term because really the best thing we could do is just teach you to do something one time and then you'd have to come back forever into perpetuity. And that would be better for our business because then you would need to keep coming back. Well, the thing is, really at the end of the day, we want to teach people that can teach other people so that you can grow this hobby with us, okay? And that's what we want to do. We want to keep this hobby viable and growing. Okay, because growing hobby is not a dying hobby. And a growing hobby will stand up to the market rigors of Chinese tariffs that are higher than, you know, most of the rest of the world is gonna receive, okay? Not saying they shouldn't be that way, but it's just the way it is. Okay, guys, check this out, look. There it goes, so this one's going up, this one's going down. Okay, so we'll click, now we go to the center, go to the top, go to the middle, go to the bottom, go back to the middle, unplug that SOB because I'm sick of listening to it beep. It's really annoying. And now the sun has decided to migrate exactly into a reflection into my eyeball orifices. All right, what's the next step? Now that we have those wires landed, which was a little harder than I was hoping it would be, we can go ahead and start sliding this together. So we'll just slide that up on there. and you're gonna notice that these wires are going to be obnoxious to get in here. Now there's two ways you can deal with this. You can either pull the wires back from inside here in the canopy area, or you can press them up in there. And to be honest, there is not really enough relief in this little slit to be able to push them back into the wing cavity, because there is no wing cavity, okay? They're gonna have to go into the fuse. But just remember, when they use these stupid anti-undo connections, they're longer. And so when they're longer, they don't fit into a pocket because they engineer it for a pocket on a standard connector width. And then they use a non-standard end. So we're gonna have to work around that, okay? All right, so sliding this plane over. All right, now that it's over, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna reach in here and just see if I can find which one's which. Oh God, that's gonna suck. I don't wanna do that. It's gonna be hard to tell which one's which. I need you to move over to the other side, please. Right there, thank you. So, you see what's going on? I just wanna make sure that when I put this in, I don't put it in such a way that it tries to yank the cable and undoes itself, you know what I mean? Oh yeah, that is a really, really bad angle, really bad. So for those of you that would have to take this plane apart, God, that'd be a pain in the butt.
Well, hopefully you wouldn't have to unless you're putting it on your moped.
Well, if you're putting it on your moped, then, you know, I would just make a hat. Just be aerodynamic. All right, this is ridiculous as usual. Thanks, China. I don't know which one's
I
which.
don't
That's
see
the elevator.
any of them moving.
Dang it. Seriously. I have to figure out how to get these things stuffed in there. So now guys, here on Brian Phillips RC, one of our principal plans is to get you guys set up so that you're ready to fly. So if you're brand new to the hobby and you just don't know what you need to get in the air, we'll help you with that. Oh, I found the hole and I stuck it in. Problem is, it's like I get one and then I can't get the other one.
Can they go in a row?
Maybe. That's what I'm trying.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys can see. Camera crew is desperately trying to get you an angle. It's like I can't get the second one in still. There it goes. There it goes. I got it. I found the hole. I stuck it in. Once you're in the hole, you're golden. Okay? So you see that? That last wire, I'm just going to use this to protect it as I go. Make sure that's in that hole, that recess, and then you're going to be good to go. Okay? Then line this up, front and back, boom. Once you're in, it's not bad, but until you are, it's a pain in the neck, okay? All right, so come back to me. We're gonna try to do this again. We're gonna have better success this time, I can feel it. All right, a lie told long enough. It's like, guys, this feels like a Monday build. Do it on a Monday. Get a whole week to make up for it. So here on Brian Phillips RC, one of our principal objectives is to teach you how to do things, which is what we were talking about earlier. And so like if you're just coming back to the hobby, there's a lot of these Chinese companies that are gonna tell you to buy a lot of wrong stuff because they're trying to sell it and they want you to buy it. And you know, I kind of don't blame them for that, but you don't come here to get Chinese marketing, you come here to get the truth. And so we are gonna commit to doing that. We've been doing that for years. Almost 10 years now, right? We're old.
We are.
I cannot find the hole on this side.
I thought you had it on that first one.
No. I thought I never, oh, there, found it. Guys,
You're usually better at finding the hole.
nah. Well, I might be able to find the hole, but just because you find the hole didn't mean you
got
did it right. I found the point of entry, but I didn't hit the button right.
Well,
Get in there. There it is. Yes. Found the sweet spot. So guys, finding the hole, that is a whole nother series. But if it's an FMS plane, could be 2 or 3. Look at that. That looks kind of nice now.
Yeah.
That is a nice fitment once you get it in there.
It is.
I got to admit, and I'm going to give them credit where credit's due. The wings went in nice once you got those wires in. I'm going to tell you, most people are going to just cram and jam, and they're going to have problems. Because guess what? That's your elevator, and that's your elevator. And that's your aileron, and that's your aileron. So you have no redundancy whatsoever. Oh, by the way, if you choose to belly land this, you still probably want to put these in so that you fill those holes. Otherwise it's going to look stupid.
Oh.
In my opinion.
Are you still debating?
I am kind of debating. I don't know. I'm just like, I just can't fathom landing this with all this crap on here. Look, I've already broken the antenna.
Now it doesn't matter.
Are you freaking kidding me? And then they did the peg style landing gear.
And then there is an antenna on the top that you're like resting on right now.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, in that case, do we need the plane stand? Okay, we'll pause, get the plane stand. All right, so we got another plane stand at least. These are all the same screws, right?
Look like it to me.
Okay. So we need 1 and 2 on each wing. So let's see if I can dump out 4, 5. Okay, so I got 4. One thing that's nice about FMS is they've been doing this thing where they use all the same hardware for all the wings and everything, and that is really nice. And I gotta say, hardware attached wings are so much better than glued wings. So that's why we're gonna glue the canards on. Here on Brian Phillips RC, we do try to be fair to the affiliates that we work with, we partner up with. I mean, at the end of the day, they think we're trying to sell this, and the truth is we're trying to help protect you guys. And, you know, sometimes those things work together, and you want to know when it works together the best? When we have a really awesome airplane, because it makes sense to try to sell you on it, right? Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, you know, we're just not going to sell ourselves short. We're not going to sell you guys out. We're not going to cheapen our relationship with our audience to try to sell something that's garbage. We're not going to tell you every 2 weeks that our favorite is some new crappy plane that just came out, even though I have jets and turbines, because that's called a lie. If you know what I'm talking about, leave it in the comments below. If you don't know what I'm talking about, watch the internet longer. Look at this.
What?
Broke another antenna already. I think I just bent that one.
I think you just bent it.
Guys, I'm a pretty careful person. I am really careful with my airplanes. And it pains me to break these things while I'm putting them together. But it does help to prove my point. My point is correct. I'm not just throwing a fit over nothing. Okay.
Also, what size was that drive?
2 millimeters.
Okay.
You're not gonna let that one go, are you?
No.
I kind of deserve it though. What plane was that we were doing when you were like telling me the wrong size?
It was a 2.5.
Yeah, and it was stupid. It was like 2.5, and like every other piece of hardware on the plane that was bigger was a 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was totally ridiculous. Okay, now these are stuck down there by the exhaust on the EDF. I gotta say, if you're gonna do an afterburner on this would be a good plane for it because you can get right in there super easy. Which, by the way, I gotta say, a lot of these planes that have EDFs, it's tempting to put the afterburners on, and it's a relatively easy thing to do on some models, but boy, oh boy, is a pain in the butt on others. We have to test it again.
That one's labeled.
Megan.
What?
Oh, it does. It says rudder.
Yeah.
Okay, so yellow is up.
Can I take that tape?
No.
Okay.
Okay, so once this gets snapped, we're gonna test it. Because every time that I have a glue joint that makes something inaccessible, I have a problem.
Is that getting glued? Where's the rest of our screws go? Yeah, that's glued.
Landing gear. That's what I said too. Black is to my left. Okay. So guys, here's the thing. Here's our principal complaint on a model like this is that when they come out with these things and then they like release them at like 10 o'clock on like a Tuesday night into the world's largest commercial market. There's more people in China, okay? But there's more money here. So maybe you should set your time to where the money is. Just a suggestion. But I'm no economist.
And they didn't ask our opinion.
They didn't, believe me. We told them our opinion, they ignored it. But it's okay, because at the end of the day, guys, we're here, we're batting for the home team for the homies. The RC
Or
homies.
say that again.
That's perfect. Okay.
What are you like yanking on down there? Because nothing is moving.
That's right, and it's stuffed in there. And by the way, you know what? You know what? It makes really good sense. Let's put a million wires right next to a servo that moves. It's almost like they knew we weren't going to like the way this was set up. I am trying to pull that excess back because how in the heck are you supposed to glue this? Do you want me to stick it back into the EDF so that it gets chopped off?
Do you want me to hold that?
No.
Okay.
I want it to not be a pain. So I have to go in here, reach and pull this bundle of wire out of the plane, okay? Now, if you guys haven't connected the dots on what's happening, I have access. Go back to where you were. I have access here, okay? The excess is coming all the way up front, and I am just trying to pull the excess through the fuse, right? Because there's really no sense in dinking around with this at all if you can't get these wires to work, okay? And they used a Y cable on this that, oh my goodness. Look at this Y cable.
What?
Look at that extension cord. Look at that. What the heck is going on with this build?
Yeah.
Why? It's like the world's smallest. It's like they had the leftover wires from the retract. Why are retract gauge so low? Like we have huge cables that go to a regular servo, and then we have this giant load on the retract and we use a small wire for it. I don't understand that at all. It seems like the current would be higher, the power demands would be higher. Let's put a smaller wire in it.
Is it because you only need them twice?
You know what? That might be because it's not continuous use. And that is actually a good point, camera crew. Jeez. It's like you know so much about this hobby that you wish you didn't know. Just imagine living Brian Phillips RC every day. Sorry to give you nightmares, folks.
Yeah, it should have been more of a horror film voice.
Yeah, okay.
When are you testing that?
I'm testing it as soon as I kind of get it to where I can let go of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay. But good point. Point taken. Yeah, thank you. I am going to go ahead and plug in the rudder plug. There's one of these plugs. Like this all makes sense. I like how they actually quite literally ran the wire through the moving part. Oh my goodness. And we have e-bikes. This is what scares me. Many of them. By the way, if you want to be scared, okay, I wanted to just point something out to you. You may have noticed that it went through a full startup sequence before it started moving. That's because, keep in mind, we're energizing this flight controller. All of the power compared to ground is in parallel, and then the signals are separate. But if you power up the rudder, or you power up the ailerons, or you power up any of them, you don't have to power it through the ESC port, okay? So just keep that in mind. When you're building these things, we have to glue that now.
Okay.
We're to the point now where we're ready. There's
might as well.
Point of no return, okay?
Okay.
So we'll start with China glue from FMS, just, you know, for the sake of, because we need to use this up. And I actually have quite a bit more of this. This stuff is a good value. So if you're ordering a new plane from FMS, do yourself a favor and, oh my goodness, this plane just stresses me out. Look at this. It's sitting on these little things on the back, which would be brakes. I'm gonna try to move it back a little bit. Then it sits on the wing. Okay, I'll move it forward a little bit. You guys see what I'm doing there? I'm trying to put it on a plane stand. It was sitting on these and bending them. Makes me nervous, okay? So now that we pulled all those wires forward, we can go ahead and start the gluing process. Camera crew and I are gonna do our best to do this in a way that you can see, but we have to ultimately get it done too. So normally, with China glue, it's a contact cement. And so what you want to do is kind of put it on both sides of the joint. So in my case, I'm going to just goop a little bit in there. And when this stuff is brand new, it is a little bit easier to work with just because it's not as messy. But this stuff will still be good until the last drop. That's one reason I really like the China glue from FMS. I've never had a tube that came broken. I never had a tube. I have pop tubes. Like I've made little cuts and things at the very end because I, you know, try to squeeze it all out of it and it'll just like get a little hairline crack in it. These aluminized containers will do that. That's got nothing to do with China glue. It's got to do with the type of container. But I guess what I'm getting at is the point is this stuff is really good and you get a lot of value out of it and it's cheap. So, and when I say cheap, I mean everything is more expensive than we want it to be right now, but it's still reasonably economical. It's a heck of a lot cheaper than CA. But some people like CA just because of its immediacy. I just think this stuff works better. It's also quite immediate and you get nice tack, you get nice control of the components like almost immediately. I'm gonna just stick that in the tube and pull out a little bit more because like I said, I'm trying to use this up. And I'm just gonna slather that on there. And once we slather it on, you can see that that paint is gonna get peeled off. So if you make a mistake and you have to redo this, it's gonna tear all this paint up, okay? So now that we have that done, there's two trains of thought. You wanna glue both surfaces, right? Well, could you just stick it down in there and glue both surfaces? Probably. This is going to the rudder. I'm just gonna yank that a little bit as I go. I'm gonna press that down, make sure the rudder label doesn't stick through. And I'm just gonna, I don't normally do it this way, guys, but I think I'm gonna do it this way. I'm just gonna press it in, okay? It would be better to press this in, pull it back out, let the glue get on the part, let it dry, and then force it back in. But to be honest, I have a really hard time not crinkling the edges on this type of pressure fit. Okay, so you put contact cement on one side, you put it on thick, you slide it in, and that's gonna in turn just take longer to cure, okay? It will still work. But if you were to peel this out and you'd have glue on both sides, say they're very sticky, so you get this like crazy friction when you're pushing it in, it likes to curl this down. And that's where you get those nasty edges. So if it'll go and it'll stay, congratulations. Sometimes what's gonna happen is if you don't let it tack up, it will actually poop the component out, which is really annoying. Yeah.
Well, and we're also not going to go fly it right away. So we have the time for it to set up.
Yeah, we won't. I mean, we want to. We always want to fly these things right away, but we aren't.
You can't hardly, oh, you can see the windsock.
Yeah, the windsock is straight out. It's crazy. Okay, so how do we know which one's up and which one's down, guys? How do we know?
Because
The carbon
fiber is on the bottom.
Okay. How do we know also?
It's got that little.
One of them is
D10.
keyed. Okay. So if it's keyed, then that means that one fits there and this one fits there. Okay. And if you try to flip them, watch what happens. No soup for you, but pay attention. Soup for you. So be careful. Get the one that works in only one hole first so that you guarantee you'll get them in the right spot, okay? Now I'm gonna squeeze out every last little drop of deliciousness out of this tube. Oh boy, oh boy. Okay, so I'm gonna try to put it on just the bottom. Okay, so there. And then I'm gonna lay that down, and then I'm gonna take the other one, and I'm gonna go like this, and spread and slather. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, yeah, look at that. That's how you know you got it, okay? So we're just gonna let that cook off. Can you smell it? Get a waft of that.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna lay that down, hang that over the edge. I'm gonna see if I can get penetration. I don't know if that's enough.
Seems like the least amount of glue you've ever used in your entire life.
It really is. And frankly, I think you're right. I think I'm gonna break out the
Broken
the pap smear
tube.
Tube?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is if you guys didn't see the video, we did a plane the other day. It was called the
Raptor.
The Raptor, but they spelled it wrong in the packaging, so it said Paptor. And I was like, very confused by that. There's lots of interesting lingo that happened that day. But anyway, okay, so as you can see, a little bit of glue. Oh, that's a really wet one. Oh yeah, look at that. So I like to get it in the air. That's China glue for you, okay? It's like a spider web. And then just let it stick to itself, okay? So ideally you would just stuff it in there and you would just get that slathered in there where it needs to go. But I don't see getting enough glue that way. I feel like we need to do a little bit more.
I think you're gonna have to get some glue in.
We're gonna have to slather the hole. Like go in there and penetrate to slather it, right?
Yeah.
Like this.
Don't lean into those though.
You don't want me to lean into it while I'm penetrating? I don't know. I feel like that's unreasonable. Okay, so I just slathered the top first, then the bottom, and I'm rolling this to pick up all those strings, okay? So look, see that red on there? That's from taking the paint, okay? There it is, just a little bit there, a little bit down there, and a little bit there. Now, I am going to let that tack for a minute, right? So I'm gonna literally not bump those. I'm gonna literally spin this to the other side of the counter so I can reach it. And I'm just gonna do the same thing here, okay? So if we have problems, we'll have to get a hold of the OBGYN and figure out why they screwed up our pap smear. Right? Is that pretty much it? Should we show them the Papter? Since now we've talked about it.
We have.
I have it right there.
It's in the office.
Okay, so I'm gonna smear a little bit more on this side only because we never actually penetrated in there with the original one. Okay,
right.
Guys. So we try to show you a viable method that will work, but that doesn't mean there's not a better way. Okay, some of the stuff we do on this channel is subjective. Here, if you guys are wondering, this is the Papter we keep talking about, the Raptor. And by the way, this little plane was super fun and we had a really good time. And even our glue joints, now that the water dried out of them, they look a lot better. And that ESC only filled up with water a little bit each time we flew it. But this plane was just a blast. Like, it's just a super fun plane. And it kind of makes me wish we had a bigger one now that didn't have such a ridiculously ugly nose.
Someone did say that the nose cones do not float, just FYI.
So you're saying that a sack that fills with water won't float?
I am.
You could put a piece of foam in there.
You were supposed to glue it on. And you
Listen,
did not.
you could take a piece of foam and you could stick it into the nostrils and then glue it in. The schnoz. You could.
You could.
Why do you look at me like I don't know what I'm talking about? Obviously I do. I'm an expert. Oh geez, that's gonna be hard to penetrate. Here.
Okay.
Hold my wingtip.
Got it.
That's a canard, by the way, guys. Stick it in until it sticks back all the way. Okay, and then just be done with it.
Okay.
Don't overthink it. At this point, it's too late if you've screwed it up. If you waited, like, let's say you did that and you got like a call from the emergency room and you had to go and like your wife was in a car accident and you went and it was a false alarm and everybody was okay and you went and ate dinner and you came home and the glue was all cured. What would you do? Camera crew.
Well, you would have finished
would
have finished building the plane before you came to the hospital.
I'm not saying that I would have done that, but that's why I said you ate dinner too.
Oh, okay. You ate dinner too.
So
then you would reapply the glue.
But what you would put the glue on it? Why?
Because it would retacks all the glue.
No, it makes it slick.
Well,
you lubricate it so that you could get penetration. But if you've already glued it together and there's no going back.
And you have to take it apart?
Right. No, I'm saying because you've already got glue on both surfaces and you can't get past the friction, okay? Then you can lubricate it with this and it will work and it will still retack the glue, but then you'll be able to make it past the point of no return. Okay? Oh my God, I was gonna say, thank God there's a snap on this. I was like, please say I don't have to glue that on. Jeez, there's so much crap on this, it's gonna get destroyed. This is gonna be like a one and done plane, okay? It's disposable planes from FMS.
Well, maybe we just have to put the gear on it.
We
don't have
gear on.
You don't have to. It's your
I don't want it
plane.
to be disposable. Listen, is it so much to ask to have a thing that works more than once?
Yes.
Okay.
Are those ambidextrous?
You know, they do appear to be.
I agree. That's why I was questioning.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. And yes, in true, amazingly smart fashion, you could take those off.
Yeah,
and then you would just be left with this to break off. But it's okay because they put the guards on the servos.
Well, they did. I mean, that's kind of important.
That was good. That was good. But you know what would have been cool is if they would have just like, say, designed this to be tall enough that maybe it would like bear the landing force. And maybe like on this, because like, look, this is literally already coming out. Like,
Oh, there you go. Now you don't have to worry about it.
I want it to be on there so I can rip it off. I want to rip it off myself. Well, I technically did. Okay. They didn't glue it enough. I mean, that got broken just like laying
I know, but it's the same thing if you had to transport it, all this crap would get broken off. Just
and
like you have glue. Yeah.
what about glute? And why is that green? Is that supposed to be green?
Probably.
Yeah, I doubt it.
Oh, I bet it is.
Really? It probably says do not paint. Okay, so, but all complaining considered, I do like these things and they are really cool. It's just really irritating for me because I want to be able to fly this thing. It's an airplane, for God's sake. It's not going to sit there and look like that SR-71 that looks perfect. Because you can fly that plane and it'll still look perfect. That's what's irritating about this. I could take this SR-71. It's more expensive probably. Let's check. Let's show the people. Don't look too close at the wood. That definitely did not discolor your wood at all. Look at this, guys. I can take this off without tools. These are sweet looking, first of all, okay? I have steerable, I have beautiful gray tires. This would not be gray, these would be gray because they're crazy. And look, you can land this thing. It is designed to be used, okay? So why is this other plane not designed to be used? Is it just a talking piece? I don't understand.
I mean, it's designed to have landing gear.
Gross, there was a dead bug on there.
I'm sure there was.
Wish there was somebody here that would clean those things.
Yeah, me too.
My airplanes. You'll notice there's hundreds less up here, camera crew. So nose cones on, canards are on. Everything is technically on except for the canopy, which is gonna take 3 seconds to put on. You know, I'm just thinking about this for a second. If I put the mains on, okay? Oh yeah, that's sweet actually. Let's just stick them on and see what they look like. So you're telling me we have to fly a jet with fixed gear?
I'm not telling you that.
I just feel sick to my stomach doing it.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Makes me want to projectile vomit.
Such a baby.
I know. But it's like, who wants to have a freaking fixed gear on a jet? Is it like coming in for final? Did the gear malfunction?
Yes, just pretend you're always taking off or landing.
Okay. All right. That's right. Hey, he's coming in for a landing again.
Yeah,
Okay.
super realistic.
But you realize that they'll be draggy and crappy flying too.
I know.
Yeah, but you're not weighing
Okay.
it. That's why I'm so pissed about all these stupid things. Look.
You're going to complain about it either way.
No, I won't. I'm only going to complain about it if it sucks.
Maybe it will.
It will. Are you kidding me? Look at
With
this.
the gear?
Look at. You think that air brake is going to help it like fly better?
Yes.
You see a lot of other air brakes on here?
Yes, I always fly my
They always put the
jets
fins
with air brakes.
sideways, like broadside to the wind, right? You realize in real life that if the gear were down like this plane would probably like crash into some like giant rich doctor's concrete building like a quarter mile away.
Too soon.
Oh, I can't picture stuff. Yeah. I guess there were lots of people that died and stuff in the Air India 777, is that what it was?
I think so.
That's terrible. I'm sure there's some stupid thing that went wrong and nothing they could do. It's terrible. But whatever seat that was, holy cow.
So yeah, primo. It was
Can
a
you imagine
premium. It was a
walking away?
premium seat before.
It was?
Yeah, because you pay extra for exit row.
It was an exit row?
Yeah.
I don't think that was an exit.
I think it was.
I think it was
Somebody
an
leave it in the
inboard.
comments.
It
I
was
was
like-
right. No, it was A, 11A. So A would be the
11A.
window seat, and I'm pretty sure it was an exit row.
You researched this a lot?
No, I just remember things.
I was just making a stupid joke.
I
Like I don't
know.
even know anything about it.
I know you don't. You need to watch more Instagram.
Yeah, evidently. Guys, leave it in the comments below if you think I'm a big jerk. You were gonna do it anyway.
About this or a
Dang
cut.
it! No, not about anything. Don't open us up to that. because there'd be
That's what I'm
like
saying.
so
You have
many-
to be specific.
We might get 10 million views on
If you
this.
think you're a jerk about this only, if you're thinking he's a jerk about other things, just that's for a
Please
different.
like, share, and subscribe. Let your friends know. We want to hear your feedback on why I'm a jerk. Al. I know he's going to find
He
that.
will.
Okay, so this is, at the end of this kind of speaks to the heart of Brian Phillips RC, is that we really do want for the best possible experience for everybody involved. We really do care about a good outcome. And so when we see stuff that's annoying, but like you wouldn't look at this box online and say, oh, those ventral fins are going to rip off immediately.
Right.
Unless you're me. And oh, there's whatever the heck these things are definitely going to rip off. That's going to rip off. That's going to rip off. Well, maybe they won't rip off. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe.
Hey, camera crew, what size is that drive?
It's probably a 1.5. What size was it? Yeah, it's what
It was
I thought.
Newell
Yeah.
fan. What the heck is Newell fan anyway? Okay, so we have the steerable nose gear. Now, I will admit there's something good about this plane. You guys want to know what it is?
What?
There's a rudder.
It's true.
The F-18 didn't
That's
have a
true.
freaking rudder.
You got to give him credit where credit is due.
Well, this is a, you wouldn't be able to fly this plane. The canards don't work.
Don't
I mean, you
work,
can't
no.
do that without a rudder. Are
It's
you
a
kidding?
2-channel plane.
It's, yeah, right. Oh, it's no 6-channel. Guys, the Raptor is a 6-channel. Even though the rudder shares a physical linkage with the ailerons. Leave it up to the Raptors, always getting my attention. Lives rent-free in this brain, okay? So I gotta say, beautiful plane, talking piece. Put it on your table. Who cares if it even flies, right? Did I cover my bases?
Yeah.
By the way, I got like 40 of these things in my basement. Somebody wants to make me an offer.
And they don't work for anything else.
They don't. They're like weird, specialized USB-A to USB-C cables.
Yeah.
Look at these beautiful flowers. They aren't even really flowers, but it's okay. You're welcome.
Thanks.
Those are all natural. You guys
That's the
are
way
like,
we do it.
I know the audience is probably thinking to itself, what the heck are you doing in this Unbox build radio setup? Shouldn't you build this
Wait, are
plane?
you gluing that or what are you doing?
I'm sticking it in the hole. What does it look like I'm doing?
But aren't you gonna?
It doesn't glue. It's just a pressure fit. The one thing that isn't gonna rip off, they allow you to put on that way. Okay?
Okay.
Okay.
The
Did
sun
you-
is terrible over here. That's why I was trying to sit on this.
Okay. Well, I gotta say, the plane looks really good. I'm just torn right now because, you know, I really want to do the audience right, and that's why we've made a concise, to the point video with no complaining at all. But we have built a plane together. And you know what's funny? It's got a nice release latch.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That is the reason that I buy planes.
You would complain if it was crappy.
Of course I would. But that doesn't mean that they shouldn't cover up the one servo in the
Yeah,
vertical
that's
stab.
kind of a bummer.
Like, really? You put decals on the white wings with white tape, but you couldn't cover up the servos. Whatever. Some of these strategic business decisions we would disagree with. And others are kind of just like, you know, do better. And truth is, at the end of the day, FMS makes a pretty mean plane, and I'm pretty happy with most of what they make. So I hope this just all makes me look like a giant jerk, because that means that this plane is awesome, okay?
Yeah.
And that I was wrong. But I'm probably not, okay? All right, so that build actually went relatively simple. There was gluing, there was screwing, there was lots of penetration and slathering of stickiness inside of holes. And if you like that, you might be on the wrong channel. But here on Brian Phillips RC, we will bring up the full truth about these models every time, because we want you guys to have a good outcome. And a lot of times the good outcomes really come from knowing what you're ordering. Okay, so let's look at something real quick.
Yeah.
Use foam glue. Yeah, foam glue.
Okay.
Like, don't use wood glue, okay? Oh, yes. Here, could you show them that step? Yeah,
It
just where all the
says
ordnance goes.
Battlefield gray, trim scheme only.
Ah, dang it. Did it really say that?
Right, yes.
Oh, that ticks me off. I wonder if it's more expensive. Guys, if you want to know how much stuff costs, follow the links in the video description below, because I don't know.
And you can see if it's on sale.
And by the way, we do sometimes occasionally have coupon codes and things like this. I'm not saying we do for this, but sometimes we do at brianphillipsrc.com. So if you're buying something expensive, check it out first, see if you can save a buck.
We typically have a couple FMS codes.
Okay, so receiver diagram. Well, they had FMS codes, but those FMS codes were kind of like you use them once and then like you were done using them.
No, we have a couple just generic percentages off or whatever.
This is what they're telling us to do.
Who cares? Why are you even looking at that?
Well, I'm just saying, gear, elevator, what the heck are they talking about?
Just turn the page. We don't
They
need
want
that.
us to use gear twice?
No, just...
No, hold on though. I'm really concerned about this. Gear and gear?
No, it's a misprint.
What are they talking
Because over
about?
here, channel 1, they don't have aileron anywhere. It's a typo.
So what you're saying is it's a typographical error.
Yes, that is what I'm saying.
It's an error. So what we need to do is we need to basically get an AR620, okay? Now I'll be honest with you guys. I wish this didn't have a reflex because I really like using AS3X Plus. I think it's amazing. It does a really nice job. On this model, I would use a 630, okay? Instead of the reflex if I was picking, but since we have the reflex, we'll go ahead and use it. So 620, we'll link to the 630 without the reflex, okay? Because a lot of times you can order them without, and then sometimes there will come a time where they'll just like not have it available for whatever reason, okay? If and when that happens, get the 630. We're gonna set this up with the Televon configuration for the wing type, rudder. Steerable nose gear can be separated for AS3X Plus for steerable traction, which is super nice. So you have extra control authority. But remember, when you peel off the gear on flight number 2 and every subsequent flight, because it's gonna be lame-o, I'm assuming, with the gear down, then you'll lose all that setup, okay?
Right.
So in our case, what we're gonna do is radio setup is gonna be based on an AR620. AR620 is just a 6-channel. In fact, could you do this on 4? We need throttle, we need mode, we need rudder, we need ailerons, we need elevator. You wanna know why? Because we're not mixing them like we would on an AR630.
Okay.
Okay? Reason 630 is because it's an end pin, so you can plug them in out here. And this, this reflex takes and extends everything, okay? So the 620 is probably gonna end up being like here-ish.
Can't we just shove it back there?
Well, we might be able to actually.
Let me get all these wires out of that servo.
Yeah, that servo, jeez, what a joke. It's just like, they never leave us enough room for this crap. And this is what ticks me off is this, look at this. See that wire? That wire is like pulled out of there. That is unacceptable. Unacceptable! We're gonna have to do surgery and find out what's going on there.
Oh, man.
No, it's not that big a deal. I just gotta have my forceps for it. It really isn't that big a deal, camera crew. We are gonna need China glue too, so we're gonna use some China glue from the PAP.
Why do you need China
Raptor.
glue? What are you China glue for?
Because we're gonna mount the receiver.
You are?
Well, you're right. We wouldn't have to because it's not spatially aware.
Right.
But if it was a 630, we would.
Yeah. Just gonna...
Guys, if you can't see what I'm seeing, let's just talk about it for a moment. This wire is yanking out, okay? That's gonna prematurely fail because this is about to pull out of the connector itself, okay? That is a mechanical failure. And I just wanna double check, yep, I need brown is up. Look, see that JST connection? Look,
Yes.
it's janking out. Why is it janking out like that? Because they crimped it just a little bit off,
Oh, yeah, I see that.
or that tab is peeled up. See, now it's not pushing back. That tab got peeled up just a hair, okay? So you see now it's staying in there. So I'm gonna see if I can get lucky enough to fix this. I wanna bring this over certain back. It's hurting my back. I'm old and frail and angry about everything, obviously. Okay, look, black is up, brown is up. Sliding it in the hole. Just get in there. Don't give me trouble like your counterparts at the back of the plane. And the ailerons. Oh yeah, now it's in. I think it's in. Yeah, that's in. You can tell because the penetration puts it past the retention clip, even though the retention clip's not gonna work because they only have 2 pins on that, okay? So, okay, so we're good, kids. Okay. Look where the ESC lead comes out. Are you freaking kidding me? Calm. Happy place, Brian. Go to the happy place. Don't be annoyed with FMS. Be happy with them, despite all evidence. I need to make room for that receiver somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we got to pull all this stuff.
All right,
in.
so guys, let's talk about this. Normally we got to build a profile, okay? If we're gonna set up forward programming, we're gonna have to have a profile. We're gonna have to go through all the normal setup, but with the 620, it's pretty simple because all we need to do is start landing wires if we know what they are, okay? Problem is, we may not know where things land.
Except they're going to land where they always land, right?
Do you want to just throw caution to the wind, camera crew?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, what do we have? We have ailerons, so that'd be channel 2. How do you know where these land? Right here, we have signal, plus, and minus. It's not silk screen, but it's lifted a little bit. Can you see it in the picture?
I can see it in the glare, yeah.
S, okay. So that goes channel 2, so it'd be the 3rd set of pins. Okay, so there's that. Then, the next thing we want to do is untangle and undangle, okay, whatever that is. And then I want to get the second one. This one says elevator.
So that'd be the next channel.
The next channel. How do you know these things, camera crew?
So I've done this.
It's like you're some sort of a miracle worker.
Many times.
Okay, so this is the throttle, so that'd be channel 1.
Yep.
So remember, brown is down as it pertains to I'm holding this with it in an upright configuration, okay? Now keep in mind, if you're using a 630, you're gonna be using potentially a different layout, okay? You're gonna have to build your profile first and then land wires accordingly, okay? So if you're using the reflex, which you have a reflex in here, the reflex is a stabilizer, so it's gonna help stabilize the aircraft similar to the way AS3X. This will be channel 6 or channel 5.
Either one.
Let's just do 5 because I don't think we're gonna have one in the next port.
Yeah, rudder, right?
Rudder.
Yeah, there won't be anything in 6.
That'll just keep channel 6 open for something else in the future if we decide to add like a self-destruct mode or something.
It's like, what are we gonna add to this? Jeez.
Okay, brown is down. So guys, if you're using the 630, remember what you're gonna do is you'll probably follow a video where we do another jet that's basically similar configuration.
That doesn't have a reflex.
That doesn't have a reflex, but do we have, you know what you could use? We have 2 videos from, except there's Televons on that. I was thinking of the bigger yellow and blue one.
Oh, the Dassault Rafale?
The Dassault Rafale, yeah.
I wonder what we used on the little Dassault
Hey,
Rafale.
check this out, guys. Look, we have this giant bundle of cables. You know what's gonna make me feel so good? It's gonna feel great to just stuff this right in there.
We gotta bind though first.
Oh, okay. All right. Good point, camera crew. All right, camera crew, as usual, has proven to be right about this, like most things. 50C 4S 2200 Smart Pack should be a good pick for this model. We're gonna get our transmitter fired up. We do have to build a profile. Camera crew and I are gonna try to avoid getting the sun in an impossible circumstance. We do have to check the CG here in a minute. I'll just throw this lanyard out of the way for now. Ooh, the Catalina. That was a great plane, guys. If you like the Catalina, check it out. It's right there. It's delicious. Yes.
Don't fly your 400mm T-28 into it.
I threw it into it like an idiot. Cancel and back, add new model. Okay, we're gonna create an acro. This should be super simple. Okay, right there. So it takes a little longer on my model because we have so many in the model memory. It's like insane how many we have. Okay.
Goodness gracious.
Is it still going? Did I like not click create? Oh, it was. It just took forever. Okay, so then model select, model name. This is where we're gonna type it in. See, 246, that is BS because we have like about 80 before that, okay? So we'll highlight this and scroll it in, the J10 and we'll come back. All All right, so I have mine set up. It says FMS J-10 64 millimeter, red, white, and blue, even though there's gray in there and we all know it. Just in case I get the gray one someday,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
Okay, aircraft type. This is where we're gonna set up a normal wing type. And you're like, but that's not a normal wing type, Brian. Yeah, that's right. If we were setting up a 630, we would do it different. And then I'm gonna select an image. I think we do actually have, yeah, we'll just do that. That's pretty good. And flight mode setup. I don't even know if I'm gonna set up flight modes, but if you wanted to set up flight modes, you could set up flight modes. What do you think?
I mean, you can switch them because we have enough plugs that will be switchable. You're not going to use any of them, but
okay, so we'll set it up the same way we would set up safe, just so we have it set up. Okay. So the spoken flight modes. This one's going to be like, but see, this is the hard part because it's not AS3X. It's stabilized.
Yeah, but that's what.
My scrolly wheel's working like crap again, guys. Sorry. So we'll type this in and come back. All right, so this is stabilized. And this is gonna be whatever we find. So we'll come back and tell you what we use. All right, so this says stabilization mode. So we'll go with that. Stability mode. She could at least say what we set up, I guess. But okay, so this one's gonna be off. So we'll cancel to clear. And remember, guys, this is just a label that's gonna indicate on the screen for us while we're flying what the setting is. And then if you decide you wanna have trims that are like separated from one another, you can do it through this flight mode setup. Okay, so we'll scroll to off and come back. All right, so off. So stabilized, off, and then this one's gonna be auto leveling. Okay, so we'll have to do some janking around with the controller to make sure our ports are, our positions and outputs are correct, but we'll show you how to do that here in a minute. Okay, so auto leveling, and then we'll pick one that says that and come back. Okay, so that says self-level. Okay, so good. So we got those names done. Then channel assign, we're probably not gonna screw with yet because the only thing we wanna do is shut off these because I don't wanna listen to the center beeps. Mm-hmm. And then this, I think we can leave where it is. It's not gonna matter because we don't have a master gain.
Right.
And all we really do is we wanna just make sure that channel 5 is where we landed. Switch D is gonna control that, but we're gonna uninhibit this, or we're gonna inhibit this, we're gonna inhibit this, and we're gonna inhibit this. But then this technically could be flight mode.
Oh,
Okay? Yeah,
okay.
because flight mode is really gonna be associated to channel 5, okay? So we may have to change that here in a little bit if we have the wrong condition true. Okay, so we're just walking out of the menu. So now it says stabilized, now it says off, now it says auto leveling. And she'll talk.
And you'll
Okay.
ignore her.
And then I'll ignore her, exactly. So if I hit, whoop, back, I can turn it up. And then,
100 off, self-level, off, stability mode.
okay, pretty cool. So if that drives you nuts, just hit back twice, and then you can adjust your volume accordingly.
75.
Okay, so I'll put it like 65, that's good enough. All right, so we can
65.
scroll over here and we can see where all of the channels are. So throttle, aileron, elevator, rudder, gear. This isn't gear, it's actually going to be our flight mode now, okay? So the weird thing is, I kind of wish that would change to flight mode there. Like that shouldn't say gear.
But it doesn't ever, those don't ever
No,
change.
those don't change. But you can see the X Plus monitor too, which is just the extra channels. When we did the 3XXX upgrade from 2XXX, we went to, on a 10, we went to 20 channels.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of nice. Okay, so we'll walk out of the, well, actually we'll leave it in here.
Do you want to do throttle cut and stuff first before we
Yeah, we can do throttle cut. That's a good point. Might as well. And we can do expo. Okay, so we'll do throttle cut first because it's more critical. Highlight it, exercise switch H. Then we're just gonna look down here in the monitor and make sure that it doesn't move until we unlock it, and then it does move. Okay, good, so we're good there. Okay, walk out of that, then we'll do rates and expo. I wanna set this all to the same switch, which I know some of you guys do this different, that's fine. I'm just giving you a starting point. You can build on it from whatever we do. And so 5, 10, and 20. And if I go up to the highest expo setting, I'm gonna actually reduce this to 90%. Okay, so this is gonna be where we start with 10% expo. If it's not touchy enough, we can go to more touchy. Or if it's too touchy, we can go to even less touchy and we'll drop the rates as well, okay? And then we just do the same setup on the same switch for all 3 axes of control. The primary axis of control, of course, being pitch, roll, and yaw. And that comes from, see my scrolly wheel, guys? It's just being kind of dumb. Okay, pitch, roll, and yaw comes from elevator. In this case, rudder for yaw. And then ailerons for roll, okay? If you don't know what expo does, it basically softens the center of the stick, unless you do negative expo, and then it makes it hypersensitive in the center, okay? So that's where we're gonna start. We have a doubling effect or a halving effect, depending on how the plane responds. So it just helps us get to the ground, okay? So we have all that set up. Now let's set a timer real quick. So the timer is gonna be like what? Maybe 3.5 minutes, I would say. 3.5?
Yeah.
So 3.5 minutes, anything over 25% is going to start it. Just because it's an EDF jet. At 1 minute, I want nothing. Oh wait, at 1 minute, do I want, yeah, I want a voice. At 20 seconds, nothing. At 10 seconds, I want a voice countdown. At expiration, I want tone and vibrate with a tone every minute thereafter. Okay, all right, good. So now when we move the throttle up, it's gonna start counting down. I can cancel that. Throttle cuts on, we're ready to bind, okay? So, well, technically we're ready to bind, but only then we have to get everything squished back into the tight hole.
Right. You gotta push the button first.
What if you just stick it in first?
Well, then you're never gonna go anywhere because you didn't push the button.
That's right, you gotta push the button first. Okay. Camera crew is usually correct on these matters. Okay. So slide that battery in. Now I have no idea if the center of gravity is gonna work out, but let's just assume it is, okay? That's because at the end of the day, there's only so much you can do without adding dead weight. I don't like to fly with dead weight, and my airplanes are already heavy as they need to be, if you ask me.
Well, and 2200 is the bottom of the range, so you could put in a bigger battery.
That's true, you
And
could.
you go a little bit of room, not much.
There is quite a bit of room, actually, I would say, for being a jet.
Hey, that nose gear is actually working.
Yeah, it is. That's right. Let's take and throw this on a table in our mother's basement and then film it for a short.
Go for it.
Oh, you're not gonna do that?
Not in my mother's basement.
That's right. Good. Okay, so here we go. Get it in there. There it is. All right, so there it is, guys. Look at that. Beautiful. Wonderful. Great, grand, wonderful. All right, now, you might be thinking, but Brian, that is the wrong plug. Yes, I know it is. That's an XT60. It will almost always pair up with an IC3 without too much doing because the pin sizes are the same, the sockets and pins, but of course there's, you know, the data jack is unnecessary on this application. If you were to have an Avian ESC, then it would have a data jack, okay? All right, so we're getting ready to bind, so let's go ahead and plug it in. Then we got to reorganize the cables just a little bit, cable management, and then we'll be done. Those lights look sweet.
Yeah, they do.
Okay. Press the button. Flashing starts. Click. Scroll down to bind. Throttle cut is on. Hold the plane just in case. It's attempting to auto-config. I don't know if the auto-config is gonna do anything useful for us because there is a very limited amount of telemetry that you're gonna get on a regular 620, full disclosure, okay? Doesn't really matter. Let's make sure our surfaces go the right direction before we bury everything, because then we would have to redo a bunch of stuff, okay? So elevator up, wrong. So click, servo setup, travel, reverse, elevator, okay? elevator up, elevator down. Roll left, that is also wrong. Okay, because that would roll the wrong way. So I'm gonna go to aileron. I'm gonna go to aileron and click. Roll left, roll right, elevator up, elevator down. Yaw left, yaw right. Now check the nose gear left, nose gear right. Yep, they're all going the right direction. Now, whilst holding the plane, I'm gonna throttle cut off. Good throttle, throttle cuts on, okay? The other thing is, do we have a thrust reverse? We didn't look at thrust reverse.
I did not see a yellow wire, and I don't know.
I might have. So thrust reverse on these small planes have been unreliable at best.
Yes.
So for landing aids, they work fine for like flying in and using water ops. I thought I saw a singular plug back there, but it might have just been one of these LED wires. This one's gonna be kind of tough because I just like physically can't see. Okay, now that we have it bound, I can go ahead and de-energize the plane. Technically I could get this out of the way, but I think I'm gonna leave it in there just so it helps me to understand what the spaces we have to work with. We'll just stuff this connector down so it's out of the way. We can also check CG when we get to that point, which is kind of nice. But I wanna see if we have wire. Okay, and I think there might be a wire. Yeah. Look. Yeah.
But can you get it from there?
Yeah. If I can just find it. So guys, this is the yellow wire we were talking about that usually gives us access to thrust reverse on a Predator ESC. But this is a 40 amp Predator ESC, so I'm just gonna warn you, if you decide to use this, get ready to be disappointed. You probably will be. And I think I've found it. Look, here it is. Yep, there it is. Okay, so I am gonna set it up for you just because it's pretty easy to set up. And whether or not it works is really kind of yet to be determined. I would love it if it worked. Just using the 4 steps to feed that. I missed one of my loops. The cable management on jets can just be so frustrating for me. I work on industrial controls a lot for my job, and this just gives me nightmares just thinking about the wiring. It's just how stupid it's set up. But what else are you gonna do? I mean, there's just like not much room in there, okay? So I'm just peeling this back so I can bring this singular wire back to my receiver. And now that I have that back, we just need to go to the signal portion. And we'll stick that into channel 6, okay? So channel 6 will act as our thrust reverse. Now we can test that and see if it works before we do our cable management, okay?
Did you notice the chick said something different?
What did she say?
She said landing 1 minute.
What?
Didn't it used to say time remaining? Or 1
Yeah,
minute
why does it say
remaining?
landing? I don't want it to say landing, that's ridiculous. Okay. Let that initiate. Yeah, I don't want her to make a decision. That's for me to ignore her with.
Well, you can still ignore her.
All right, so we need to set up thrust reverse now. So thrust reverse needs to be attached to a channel. So let's go back to system setup, disconnect RF.
9, 8, 7, 6,
Channel assign.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Just so you know, the beeps from scrolling get into the stack of executable events for this controller in Airware. And so it's super obnoxious when there's a countdown like that, it will get in the stack. So the beeps will come out of sequence with your actual activity. In case you guys were wondering what the heck that was all about. Okay, I put thrust reverse on switch G. So I'm just gonna highlight channel 6 and just assign it to switch G. Okay, walk back out. Now this may or may not be right. I can tell you right now, it's probably backward right now already. And I'm not worried about the time. So I'm just gonna go ahead and just carefully throttle cut is off. There's forward thrust, as you can see. Forward thrust. Okay, I'm going to monitor. Okay, so now reverse thrust. Why is the elevator moving? Why is the elevator moving? Look at that. That is not good. I don't like that at all.
Why would it be?
Okay, now let's talk about thrust reverse first. So I've got the thrust reverse in the wrong position, so I'm gonna go to servo setup. No, I'm gonna do digital switch setup. So digital switch setup, select switch G. In this mode, I want that to be minus 100, that's our forward thrust. And of course, my scrolly wheel's being ridiculous, so my apologies, folks. If you guys get an NX8 or an NX10 or anything with the scrolly wheel from Spectrum, after millions of cycles like we do, then you will eventually have it start acting up on you. Yes, you can actually replace these things. It's just...
You're going the wrong way.
No, I'm not.
Oh, thrust reverse, yep.
I'm in thrust reverse now.
Yep.
So this is thrust reverse. And you can replace the scrolly wheel if it really drives you nuts, which, to be honest with you, it drives me nuts.
It does.
But we have an NX8 waiting to start as soon as we run out of model memory, but it just keeps not running out, so we keep using it. Okay, so this will be forward thrust. This will be reverse thrust, and this will be reverse thrust, but we're not even gonna do a pilot fatigue because pilot fatigue is unreliable on the 40 amp ESCs. Pilot fatigue, if you're gonna set it, is relatively easy to set up. We usually do a mix, and the mix is gonna be set up as a normal. It's gonna be tied, it's only on when the switch is in this position. So then we disable it. Oh, I hate it when it does that. You see, it won't let me highlight that thing. See that? Look.
You have to switch the switch position, don't you?
I already did. Look. Look, it should let me highlight that, but it's not letting me highlight it. What the heck? Okay, so I'm gonna set this up. Okay, first of all, throttle cut is on. I'm gonna set this to throttle, nope. I want it to be probably switch G, just because that'll be the easiest way to do it. Okay, so I want switch G to activate throttle, okay? And I want it to happen at a certain rate, but I only want it to happen on that setting, okay? Because I hadn't activated it to tie to anything, it wouldn't allow me to highlight those critters, okay? So now that I have that critter set up in this setting all the way back toward me, it's gonna be true. In this setting, there's gonna be no mix at all, and there's no mix at all, no mix at all. And you can see that little black dot moving as I toggle the switch, okay? So what I want it to do is when I'm in that setting, I'm in thrust reverse controllable, but now I want it to be thrust reverse pilot fatigue, which means it's gonna automatically jank the stick up for me regardless of the stick condition. Just remember, don't stick anything in the thrust tube that you don't want to get chop sueyed. Okay, so this is where I shut off the throttle cut so I can just listen. Throttle cuts off, okay? So now no mix, okay? Throttle sticks down, you're coming into land, okay? You're out of the throttle, you're just flying down. You've got even a little bit of forward thrust, then you have reverse thrust, then you have pilot fatigue. Okay. Throttle cuts off. Make sense?
If it
works. But I'm just gonna tell you this right now, it probably won't work, so when you do it, the issue that we've run into is that pilot fatigue will oftentimes give you a false sense of security. Now, Avanti and Scorpion, 8S for us, we did 8S and 6S on the 8S platform. Both of them worked.
Yep.
So the bigger ESCs from Predator have enough power to overwhelm the already spinning EDF, which does take power to stop it and go the other way, okay? So keep in mind, there's feedback, okay? All right, throttle cuts on. We now have thrust reverse set up. We now have pilot fatigue set up, okay? We don't do audio events with those. You could if you wanted, but I'm not gonna, okay? So clearing the timer, it went off again. Obviously the gear don't do anything. Obviously the flaps don't do anything, but we gotta check our modes now, okay? So modes real quick. So right now, okay, let's get everything plugged in here so it's out of the way. I know I can trust this plane now, but let's go ahead and unplug it so we can get the last little bit done here. Slide this down here, okay. All right, this can just get stuffed in now.
Yep.
But our goal is to get all this wire so it's out of the way so that we don't have to worry about these stupid wires being a stupid problem. And you know how we're gonna do it, camera crew?
Tape or cut a channel?
We're gonna cut a channel. Why are we cutting a channel?
Because you can and it's easy.
Because it's easy, okay? There's not plastic on that ledge, is there?
No,
there
only
is
on
right
the
there,
front.
okay.
Yeah.
So all I'm gonna do is just cut a channel for these 2 wires. You know, like say the way the manufacturer should have done that. See that? Look at that, beautiful, okay? Guys, we point out where we think there is a deficit in involvement from any of these manufacturers we work with. Just because, to be honest with you, the way I see it is I paid a Chinese employee to put this together, and if I'm buying this thing, that's the way it works, right? Shouldn't have to do it for them. But there are certain things that are subjective, and I guess you could make the argument that having wires going through a moving part is just all part of the show. And but then that would be a pretty low look, a low value, not putting much emphasis on quality, in my opinion. So that disappoints me. I think FMS makes a great plane, and historically we've had really good luck with them in a lot of different things. But one of the arenas where we are sometimes left wanting is stuff like this, because this stuff, just think about it. How are you gonna fly the plane? Are you gonna have to do this? Is everybody gonna have to do this? The answer is probably some sort of, you know, control over those wires, because you don't want those going into this servo, okay? That would be a bad condition. You don't want that. Now I have to do it again on this side too, okay? This side's not as critical, because it sort of walks away from the servo, but I'm just creating a pocket, slice and dice with that. I'm just taking a flat-bladed screwdriver, opening the pocket, and then I'm gonna take this wire and just real carefully stuff it in the hole. In the hole! So here on Brian Phillips RC, you may hear periodic, obnoxious things just like that. No extra charge. Guys, if you want to support Brian Phillips RC and the things we do to help support the hobby, look no further than the links in the video description below. It's the best way you can support us financially. But if you want to support us in other ways, we have 3 or 4 different ways that we talk about each time on these videos. Not the least of which is Patreon for monthly support, YouTube Super Thanks for one-time donations, YouTube members if you want to be a member and help support us on a routine basis, just like Patreon, except through the platform here on YouTube. Full disclosure, YouTube is one of the most expensive platforms in terms of fee structures. They keep 30% of the money that you send to us.
Hey,
so
now Google's really hurting.
they are.
For money.
They are tight on cash.
Those billions of dollars are not going as far as they did.
So you're saying all
ago.
that data mining they do and the general monopoly on all technology,
Yeah,
they need 30% of it.
They really need that.
Well, it's better than Apple. At least Apple got shut down because they were trying to steal everything from Patreon. I guess they got sued. Good.
Yeah.
Because anytime that you used Android platforms to like use their thing, they were trying to charge 30%. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Guys, all these technology companies need to just go pound sand. They already live on the backs of all of our users. AKA YouTube, we live on YouTube as Brian Phillips RC. We get it. We're using their platform. We're at their discretion. You know, I'm in America. Obviously, we want freedom. These guys, you know, somebody at some point worked really hard to start it. And then we just kept doing it. Yes, I'm gonna stick it in the hole, camera crew.
I was just looking at the canopy over my shoulder to make sure that
I know that the canopy is gonna fall in here. And guys, that's a good point. Camera crew is concerned, but all we have to do is make a flush
there's
fit.
no tab.
This is where the tab
Yeah,
goes.
that's what I was looking at.
So we were both thinking the same thing at the same time. It's just, she was giving me a dirty look off camera and I wanted to communicate the dirty look. It wasn't a dirty look at me. It was a dirty look at the technology. Because I was talking about Google at the time. So anyway, guys, back to Google. So Google, big evil Google, you know, googly eyes. I don't really think they're big and evil. I just think, well, even though they probably are, I'm just more concerned about the fact that if you guys are trying to support us, we want you guys to know transparently that there's a little bit more fee structure involved. Patreon's like what, 18, 20%, something like that.
We're looking at maybe a different option.
Yeah, we are. We're looking at different options. So like if you want to buy like a shirt that says Brian Phillips RC, for whatever reason, that particular, what's it called?
Fourth wall.
Fourth wall. So fourth wall is like it's an interface that allows us to like have a widget on our YouTube channel where you can buy like a BPRC hat or, you know, a shirt or whatever.
Yep.
Obviously, you know, people that want to support us we have been really fortunate on this channel to have people that like long time repeat offenders. I'm viewers that come to watch us make these videos. And that's the only reason we get lucky to do this still. Okay.
That's the only reason you get lucky?
Well, I mean, that's part of it. That is what you wrote on that list. So at the end of the day, we still have a mode to set up, by the way. That cable management
That looks pretty decent now.
Listen, cable management matters. And you'll notice that watching Brian Phillips RC will help you do cable management. Okay? There's a lot of bad that comes from watching Brian Phillips RC. I just want you guys to get some good out of it too. The bad is it's long. It's tedious. But the good is this. If you need help, we're going to help you. The other guys are just going to say, oh, it was an easy build. Okay, all right. Well, was it? Was it really? The answer was probably not as easy as they want you to believe, okay? Because here we show the full truth for a reason, okay? We want you guys to be able to judge, hey, that was a pain in the neck, or that was really bad, like, wow. But to be honest, look how nice that looks,
It does.
okay? I'm proud of that, okay? All right, so let's talk about modes. We already made audio events and video feedback that says stabilized here, okay? So I wanna see which one's off. So that's obviously stabilized. Is it auto leveling? Probably, yep. So it's auto leveling in this D switch mode. So what we need to do is we need to switch this in the digital switch setup, okay? Because that'll be a lot easier.
Self-level stability mode.
Now I could also, instead of doing D switch, I could scroll all the way to flight mode as well. See, like this? Okay? See how it says stab and auto level?
That's kind of nice when it's labeled then.
Oh, for God's sake, the scrolly wheels drive me nuts, guys. I'm sorry. Okay, so minus 100, then 0 for off, and then this will be plus 100. So I'll hit clear, and then I'll go all the way up.
Is there a reason you just didn't reverse the servo setup?
You know, that is a good point. I could have actually done that, but you got to remember, this isn't a servo, this is a switch.
No, I know. That's why I was asking.
So, because it's not a servo, you have to do it different ways, and that's why we showed this way. Okay, so this is off. So the middle switch setting. So this is stabilized. So it's stabilized. Now, when we flip this over, it shouldn't auto level. Nope, it's just stabilizing, okay? And then auto leveling. Now it's trying to find the quickest route to level. Now look at the level on the elevator. Now it's trying to level. Now it's trying to level. Okay, very good. So it's doing the correct direction. Now let's check stabilizer. So back to stabilized, not off. Okay, so guys, I'm just gonna pivot this aircraft and look at the rudder. Yep, it's going the right way, it's going the right way. Now the elevator. Okay, I'm gonna go down, it goes down, it goes up, and I'm looking at both. You guys can only see one at a time, but I can see both, okay? So then I'm gonna roll, yep, roll, yep, roll, yep, roll, yep. And I'm looking at each surface. And what I do is I look right here at this joint where it should be flush, okay? And then as I pivot the aircraft, it moves. And I see one little spot I have to check. If you don't check that step and your plane crashes, don't come crying to Brian Phillips RC. Well, you can come crying to me because we do listen to a lot of crying. I mean, you listen to the crying in this video. But the truth is, if you don't check your surfaces, who is gonna check it? China? Do you trust them to do that? I trust them to put glue in a tube that's white and then crimp it and not put warnings on it, okay? But I don't trust them to check the direction of these travels. At a certain point, you take ownership of the model, it becomes your problem, okay? At this point, this is my problem, okay? So y'all left, y'all right, elevator up, elevator down, roll left, roll right, and off, up, down, roll left, roll right, y'all left, y'all right, steerable, steerable, okay? And then auto leveling, roll left, roll right, elevator, elevator, y'all left, y'all right, steerable. Okay, throttle cuts on, throttle cuts off. A little bit of thrust, a little bit of reverse thrust, pilot fatigue, and off. Okay, throttle cuts on. Guys, there you have it. The full setup, the full Monty. We just have to check the center of gravity. I knew you were gonna point that out.
Okay.
You realize I was gonna.
Yeah, no, sure you were.
I was gonna do that thing.
Yeah.
Guys, if you ever wanna get some awesome motion blinds, okay, these are motion blinds. This is not a sponsored
the only
video.
motion we work with.
Oh
We
no!
need a charge.
That means our battery's dying. By the way, that ladder is functional, by the way. Yes, I can crawl up that ladder. There's 8 4 3/4 inch screws, lag
In
bolts
every
that go in
single one.
every ladder step. So even my fat behind can go up there. But we set up these blinds when we moved out to the country because it was nice to have blinds for privacy and stuff. But they were so much cheaper. I think they quoted us like $7,000 for like this room.
Yeah.
And we did it for considerably less. And it's been awesome and we love them.
Yeah.
They've been really good. Super easy to install. And since they screwed up so many times, we had enough to do like other areas in our house. Okay. Final thoughts. Now that we've talked about everything, including the kitchen sink, which we also built.
Except the CG.
I'm kidding. I'm not going to talk about the kitchen sink. Refueling port comes off. Ventral fins come off. Landing gear come off. But you need tools to take them off, okay? Squishy nose gear is probably fine, but I guarantee you that the rock hard mains are gonna make it questionable. Here's the thing, landing these planes can be easier than you think. Because when you've got, and I'm just gonna steal terminology from John from Two Brothers, because he loves these things. He calls them flying tacos, or flying Doritos, okay? I am not a huge fan of the flying Doritos, but look at that. That has a goal wing. I did not know that.
Oh, yeah.
What? Point at the middle of the goal.
Yeah, right here.
It's polyhedral.
Yeah.
I did not know that. That is so stinking sick.
It's really hard to see that from the top.
I couldn't tell it. So I'm thinking that this plane is probably going to fly very stable, okay? How do you make a plane that flies stable more fun? Well, John would have you put the CG so that it's very tail heavy.
Yes.
Oh, there's a reflex manual in here too. If you guys want to learn how to do that stuff, okay, I'm not gonna mess with it, okay? But if you want to mess with it, you can. Yeah, I'm not gonna mess with it. They're saying it's 80 to 90 millimeters from the edge of the main wing, okay? So we'll mark it quick and check it. But I just want to warn you, there is a big difference between the way we do stuff on this channel and the way John does it on his, because he does more advanced setups and all that stuff, and more power to him. But at the end of the day, we want to get people in the air, and I've flown his planes. It's crazy. So he's a pretty good pilot, and I'm just going to say it like this. He's been flying less long than me, and he's a pretty dang good pilot. Okay, so I'm going to go to 80. A nose-heavy plane flies stable. A tail-heavy plane flies once is kind of like the rule of thumb. That's what people say. The truth is, if you have a good enough stabilizer, you can fly a tail-heavy plane and have it fly effectively. But you better be on it. And it gets away from you like that.
Yeah.
Okay? So just remember that, guys. You heard it first on Brian Phillips RC, but you probably heard it from him too. Okay.
That is the weirdest.
The center of gravity?
Yeah.
I'm marking it over here. You're not going to have to film this necessarily because it's going to be the same. Okay, now I'm going to go to 90. It's just because the way the wing is mounted on this plane. Okay. The airframes are so different on these things. These flying Doritos, like John calls them. Okay. All right, so let's just do this. Now also, I should point this out. Because everybody has an opinion, and that doesn't mean that everybody's opinion that's different from me is wrong. I do want to tell you something. I firmly believe that if you set your planes up like John does on Two Brothers and you're brand new to the hobby, you will fail, okay? You don't want to set up a plane really tail heavy when you're brand new. Yes, you won't be able to do aggressive things that he's doing right off the bat, but most of us probably aren't going to do that, first of all. And if you get to the point where you want to do that, that's fine. You can advance into it, but just remember, you want to start with a plane that's going to be in the range, close to the range.
Yeah.
Because if you get too far back to where this thing is really heavy on the tail, then what's going to happen is you're going to have a really hard time controlling it because the stabilizer, especially the factory stabilizer, is not going to keep up, okay? So I'm on the back hole and it's tail heavy. I'm on the front hole and it's quite tail heavy. You know what? I'm going to go with it. I'm happy with that. 2200 4S puts it right where I want it, which is just a little bit behind the center of gravity marks. And I'm going to just show you what it would look like if it was all the way to the front bulkhead. And I think I can get this in still. Yeah, maybe not. My battery's just a little bit too tall, so I got to push it back about 3 or 4 millimeters. Let's see how this bounces out. Now this is with the gear, guys. Okay. Don't break off your ventral, or don't break off your canards. Okay, I'm on the back hole and it's really dang close. I'm probably 3 millimeters behind the center of gravity. That's super close. It's not gonna be a noticeable thing. It's gonna fly the way the manufacturer intended. It's close enough, okay? So 2200 4S all the way up front. And this is 2200 to 2700 is their recommendation.
2600 is
Oh,
their top
excuse
of
me,
their
guys.
range. Yeah.
I apologize. We do have 2700. So I'm just gonna mark this. Boom and boom. 2200 milliamp hour. 4S. Okay, and then I draw an arrow, which usually indicates what direction the wires go. So cable management, battery loading. Actually, both went pretty smooth.
Yep.
Okay. I gotta say, there was parts of this build where I was really losing confidence in my ability to enjoy this build. But now that it's together, and this is not uncommon, guys. If you've been through this with Brian Phillips RC, a lot of times we start out big sourpuss, like I'm annoyed I have to build another plane that's this or that is annoying about it. This is part of having built 400 or 500 of these things. There's some that go together, boom, like lickety split, and there's like 7 bolts, okay? And that is what I long for every day. I just think it's gonna look less than desirable with the gear down, okay? Because at the end of the day, this plane is gonna want to be a jet in the air. I just know it will.
Right.
And maybe we'll get lucky, we can land it in some tall grass, just flare it in and just plop it like that. But man, all that stuff is gonna break. It's just, you know it will. This one for sure is gonna break.
Yeah.
So anyway, if you guys are manufacturers and you're watching this and you're thinking, hey, how do we keep Brian happy because he's a squeaky wheel, he's got a big mouth, okay? Well, here's a couple of different things you could do differently that would make me happier. A, don't make fixed gear on jets, okay? Just don't do it. It's not worth it. Fixed gear on prop planes all day long. I don't care, it's fine. Little planes like that, it's not a big deal. The gear don't bother me near as much, okay? But you're also flying in a lot, like a slower speed. The coefficient of drag fits that platform better. But I don't mind having the gear down. It's not that big a deal. It doesn't bother me. Whereas this, it bothers me, okay? Because it's gonna look sweet. Now on landing, it's gonna look fine because the gear would be down. I don't have a problem with that. But all the rest of the time doing high-speed passes, it's gonna change the aerodynamics. It's gonna cause a lot of drag. And 64 millimeter EDFs are just not that juicy. So you need every advantage you can get. So how do you make me happy? You make things like this magnetically attached and easy to find. You make things like this non-exist or clippable. Like you just unclip it, put it in your pocket. The ventral fins are aerodynamic. I need them. They're part of the flight envelope. I want the control.
Right.
So no, I'm not gonna take them off. Make them magnetic. Make them pop off.
Yep.
I wanna say it's not that hard. I know it costs, all these things add to the cost of these aircraft.
But we've got them on the Viper.
I know. And we got them on other planes. And guess who makes the Viper?
That's what I said.
FMS.
Right.
So at the end of the day, it's frustrating for us because we know what could be. And so we just bring it to the table, our offering to the RC people, that's you, and say, audience, what do you think? What do you think? And do you agree with my assessment about these problems? Is it just me being a jerk? Or is it, that's a good point, and it's gonna stop me from buying this model? Or it's a good point, and I'm still gonna buy it because I like it. Okay, these are good things to discuss. Leave them in the comments below. We'll read them, may not respond to everything, but we will see them. And guys, we do appreciate you being part of this channel here on Brian Phillips RC. We put our all into these videos. In fact, pause. All right, so for years, we have filmed 100% of our footage with the rare exception of like a random, like somebody else used their phone.
Yeah.
Phones, yeah, just got a text, okay? We've used these things for years and they have worked and served Brian Phillips RC well. Now, we eventually, after much complaining from our audience, went to Rode wireless mics after we tried a couple different Chinese
one
offerings.
other
We had one
one
other one that worked
before
pretty
we-
good for a while and then it started screwing up.
When we first started, you couldn't get a Rode in
That's
the
right, with two
channels.
subjects.
Yep.
Because the camera crew, you need to hear her SUNY remarks, obviously. And these have been a couple of the pivotal, obnoxious things that we didn't want to have to do additions. The audio was so much better after we did it.
Yeah.
And so we want to bring the best we can do. And so the next thing on the list is we're going to an SR, what is this thing called?
No, it's just a Sony X53. It's a camcorder.
So it's a camcorder, okay?
Open
so,
it. Just open the little thingy and it'll turn on.
So as you can see, this thing is expensive and we're making huge investments. Obviously, we've spent a lot on this property and we're getting ready, like literally tomorrow, they should be breaking ground on the damn gift shop, okay? So this year is gonna be extremely expensive for us as we continue this RC addiction and we deepen our resolve to bring you the best, highest quality content that's digestible, relatable, and helpful to get people out of the chair and into the air. We use these stupid catchphrases like full truth, nothing but the truth, so help us God. We do that because we're in an environment of RC influencers where they'll say anything. I don't know if they've just like got jaded with the hobby and they just don't care, or if they never loved the hobby to begin with. But I'm gonna tell you what, if the best you can do is drop this on a table and disrespect the hobby, I have no room for you in my world, okay? This is a hobby I love. We have spent ungodly amounts of money to be in a circumstance where we can film these planes, try to give you our best all the time, and we hope you guys see it. I know that our regulars will see it and have expressed that they do see it, but just this stuff adds up really quick. You may have already known it. There's a lot of our other, cohorts in the RC influencing world that have spent a lot more on camera gear than we have. So that's a small thing. That's really something we probably should have adapted to previously, but we have a great camera crew and she does a good job of keeping this plane in picture and in frame. There's so much you can do with a non-optical, a digital zoom on a smartphone. Yeah. Okay, cameras have gotten so good on these things. And yes, 4K, 60 frames per second is definitely manageable on most now. But we're making the necessary improvements to bring you more zoom, closer footage, like you're right there in the airplane with us. We're gonna do the best we can. We've got some more stuff right around the corner. And like it or hate it, we just are trying to adapt to what the market really wants. And it may not look like it always, but at the end of the day, especially on our Unbox build radio setups, we're gonna do it our way because we know people need help. That means the videos are gonna be long because people need help. And so we're gonna help them. And that means we're gonna run into problems and then we're gonna fix them. And I'm gonna tell stupid side stories because that's how we build rapport with you guys. So you know that we're really in it for the right reasons. And it's not just to sell this plane because at the end of the day, I could really care less what plane you buy. As long as you're buying a plane or a helicopter or something that's gonna make your life better and it's gonna help enrich the hobby. Okay, remember, more people doing this improves circumstances for all of us in the RC thing, okay? If there's less of us, the market dries up, manufacturers go out of business. I don't care what the tariff is. It doesn't matter because we're gonna figure out a way to absorb it or we're gonna replace the business in America. Or we're gonna make them in Canada, or we're gonna make them in Mexico, or whatever. I don't care. It doesn't really matter to me that much. But at the end of the day, we wanna serve you, the audience, and bring you the full truth so you can make good decisions. And a lot of that comes back to if the manufacturers push back with garbage, we're gonna present them as such. Now, is this garbage? Absolutely not. Are there some complaints? Yeah. Are they pretty minor? Yeah. Truthfully, the planes have gotten so much better in the last 10 years. There's a lot less to gripe about than there was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
We started this 10 years ago, right? Mm-hmm. Roughly. And it's kind of crazy because our life has changed a lot in 10 years. And it's not just been because of YouTube, but YouTube has played a really big part in the changes in our world, okay? And so we want to thank you because the opportunities that we've enjoyed and also fought hard for have come largely because of YouTube, or at least in part because of YouTube. So we want to thank you guys. So let's give them one last shot before this pond. The pond that generated this stuff. This is real. I just collected this today. No, I'm serious.
Yeah.
This came, you guys helped do it, which is crazy. Okay, let's come out here. These fishing rods. Okay, these fishing rods. We wouldn't need fishing rods because we wouldn't have a pond here. That Yarbo, that happened. That's an autonomous lawnmower, okay? Now, does it do a perfect job? No. Is it awesome? Yes. Would I still want it even if it's imperfect? Absolutely, okay? You guys help do that. That over there is gonna start to change. That runway is gonna be hopefully paved. Look at this beautiful pond down here.
I'm not showing them our pool.
She's not showing them our pool. That pool is not from YouTube.
No.
Okay? But our point is this. As we try to continue to reinvest and re-up our efforts, we're doing this stuff because we love the hobby and we're really in it for the right reasons. If you're watching people that are in it for the wrong reasons or just trying to tell you to buy this and buy that and whatever, we try to bring you the reason you might enjoy something. But at the end of the day, when you see that building go up, that's very real in our world. It's very, very real. It's gonna cost more than our house and the land that it sits on, okay? That's how real it is, and this was a lot. So my wife and I have worked for probably 25 years, right? 25 years to get where we are, okay? So if you see where we are and you think, oh, it must be nice, trust me, working till 2 a.m., working 20-hour days, working 25-hour days, 26-hour days. Yes, I've done those things. That's what it takes if you wanna make it. But it's not necessarily always gotta be all bad. I love what I do. I think I'm good at it on a lot of the stuff. I'm not perfect, but we wanna bring you our best. And so we're always trying to improve. If you guys have ideas that are constructive that we could do and help make this a better experience for you, let us know in the comments below. We're always trying to serve you guys better on Brian Phillips RC. We want you guys to know that we are not unaware of the impact you've had on our lives. So we want to thank you again. Yeah. All right, so that's about it. One last quick view of the pond. The pond, yes, I don't know if you guys remember this, driving Wove Racing. You know, I want to call it a 3D car because the thing was so fast.
Yeah, that thing was crazy.
Shooting up and down the sides of the pond while we were building it. It was so cool. I remember back when we first started flying in our neighborhood, that was a wonderful place to be. We were the second of like 4 houses on that block that ended in double cul-de-sacs. Back then it was legal to fly there. It's just crazy how much this hobby's changed over the years. And we would like to think that we played a very small part in helping to get us where we are here. And the positive things, not all the bad things necessarily, because we griped along the way with you. So thanks for being here with us. Thanks for the 10 years. It's not an anniversary video by any means, but I was thinking about it. It was heavy on my heart. I wanted to mention that to you guys because at the end of the day, we wouldn't be doing it if you didn't keep coming back. So if you stop coming back, we'll stop doing it and we'll gracefully bow out and let the guys that slam things on tables take over. And I'm sure you get lots of valuable help from those people that make shorts. But in the meantime, while we're still doing it, we're gonna do the best we can until you guys change your mind. So if you do, you'll understand. If you don't, we'll understand and act on it. So thanks for being part of this RC extravaganza here on Brian Phillips RC. We appreciate you and we want you back. So click the bell for notifications when you subscribe and you'll get notified of all the new content that's right around the corner. And there is a lot of new stuff coming out. This year is gonna be like a huge makeup for all the COVID crap that didn't happen. Guys, we were talking, the stuff we're doing in a month, we were talking about it before COVID. You know that, right?
Yep.
Yeah, before COVID. I was looking at pictures of the things that we were supposed to be doing in like 14 days before COVID. And we're just finally getting traction back to where we were. So now that the tariffs have sort of settled down, we're hoping it will be smooth sailing and it will be amazing and wonderful. And sorry, there's wind. We're repositioning to try to block it. So guys, thanks for being here. You want to support us in other ways, Patreon, monthly support, YouTube super thanks for one-time donations, YouTube members for monthly support, PayPal for one-time donations, and P.O. Box if you have something to send. We appreciate you as always. Stay tuned. So much more from Brian Phillips RC.